I talk in my book about the powerful effect that environmental change can have on behavior, not just for our animal companions, but also for ourselves. Now, don't get me wrong, I love our beach home. By many measures, it is the perfect place for me, but it is a terrible environment for my sensitive, reactive, and anxious dog Bunny. So I bought a 55-acre off-grid property bordered on 3 sides by state land. I heard someone say recently, you're only as happy as your least happy child. Well, Bunny is that child, and she and I have very similar needs, so we're going to be spending a lot of time out here and seeing what effect it has on our behavior. This video is our first 3 days up at the new place. There were some immediate challenges. I almost couldn't make it up the road because of the snow and ice. When I got there was no water or power. But thankfully, we had the solar guy's phone number on hand. He came up, he took a look at the generator, took a look at the solar, and said, yeah, we're fucked. Well, it wasn't all that bad, but he did have to take all of the solar batteries and charge them in his warehouse because they weren't able to charge because they'd been so cold and off for so long. So here he is trying to explain to me how to work this. And if there were sound, you would hear me going, yeah. What?
Yeah.
So while I was at the cabin this week, I was just using the generator. I would turn it on in the morning and make my coffee and do a little bit of work. And then I would turn it off. We'd go for a long walk. I'd come back. There'd be enough light for me to do whatever I needed to do in the home. And then I'd turn it on again in the evening for a couple of hours to do more work, to make dinner, and then off again before bed. The cabin came fully furnished, which is incredible, with a ton of firewood, no kindling that I could find, so I had to make some of my own. Later, I found an entire drawer that was full of fat wood, and if you don't know, fat wood is the best kindling you could possibly ever have, so that's cool too. The first morning we were there was super foggy. We decided to go explore, all of them off leash, which is such a beautiful thing to see. The snow was pretty deep in some areas, and it was awesome to see them tromping through it and Tenrec sort of just floating on top. From the moment I saw this place for the very first time, I could feel my nervous system breathe again. And I could tell that Bunny was feeling the same thing. Her sound reactivity was almost non-existent. She was kinder to her brothers. She was playing more.
I'm gonna poop my pants, I'm so happy.
And we know everything is connected. I am curious to see whether being in a space where her nervous system can relax will allow her physical health to improve as well. I acknowledge that it's a tremendous privilege to be able to explore this opportunity. And I hope you'll join me for some off-grid adventures and to watch the power of an environmental shift.
Thank you what?
We'd just come back from a really long walk in the hills, and I'd settled in front of the fireplace with some knitting. I tried to explain that I was a bit tired after our big walk, but she was having none of it. So eventually I just asked if they all wanted to go potty outside, and of course they did. So that's what we did.
Hang on. I'm gonna get you something. I'm gonna get everyone something.
So we'd just come home from a walk, and Tenrec had found a bone of some sort under our house, brought it in. Everyone else wanted it, of course. So I decided to get everyone treats to disperse the tension and remove the bone. Bunny thanks me and then waits for my next move.
Please now what? What do you want now, Bunny?
She walks over with her head down to where the treats had been, giving me a pretty clear signal.
Oh, did you say please more? Please now more? Okay.
I accept her invitation, walk back over to the kitchen, and scatter a few more treats on the floor for each of the dogs.
You ready to eat them all? Whoops. Okay. Here you go. I'm dating next. I'm dating next. But it's okay, 'cause I've got 3 vacuum cleaners.
I bought a 55-acre off-grid property for my dogs and I, and here's what our second week in the new place looked like. We finally got the solar working, which is amazing, but we still had no hot water. Turns out this tiny tube that delivers the propane to the pilot light on the water heater was clogged, and it needed an industrial engine solvent, which coincidentally existed in the shed here. So we soaked the tube in the solvent for about half an hour and then put the thing back together, and voila, hot water. The kitchen sink tap had a really annoying leak, but after we got the hot water going, I took my first shower in the new place, and when I was done, the kitchen tap wasn't leaking anymore. So here's the deal. We use the solar to pump the water from the well up into the cistern, which then uses gravity to bring it back into our home. But you have to turn the well off after a certain point so that the cistern doesn't overflow. And we haven't run out of water in the cistern yet, so I don't know when I'm supposed to refill it. But anyways, I think I'd overfilled the cistern, and that's why there was a leak. On one of our morning hikes, we saw a massive herd of elk running down the hill into the valley and back up the other side, and I thought I caught it all on camera, but I was really just recording my face. There's a trapdoor above our bed that I haven't been able to open yet. It's like painted shut, but I'm working on it. There's also a trapdoor in the bathroom, and I'm pretty sure it just leads to the plumbing for the washer and dryer, but I haven't explored it fully yet. I had phone conversations with all of my neighbors and learned all of the local gossip, and that there's currently a cougar here. One neighbor had left a deer hide up to dry, and the next morning he came out and it was just like shredded by this cougar. One of the things I was really nervous about when moving here was rattlesnakes. But I talked to a neighbor who has been here for 20 years. They said they've literally never seen one, so that's great news. And besides, they hibernate in the winter, so I'm at least safe till spring. I've learned I really suck at chopping wood, but I am going to get better at that. I went and explored the closest town, which is a 45-minute drive, and that was a lot of fun. Otter and Ten are being so cute together. Okay, now for the stove. So far, we can only get one burner out of 4 to work, and I can't figure out how to start the oven. It's like this old school oven. It's super cool, but I don't get it. That's about it for this week. We do have a winter weather advisory in effect right now, and it's snowing, and although the forecast keeps changing, it does appear that we'll get about a foot of snow in the next couple of days. So, see you next week.
Tomorrow night, Dad, come. I love you too. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you, honey bug. Home.
This is home. This is home, honey. Yeah, this is Park Home. This is Park Home.
Morning.
Well, it's afternoon now.
Please.
You want to go home in the morning, please? You want to go beach home? Why? Can you tell me why?
Bye. Friend. Cat.
Oh, honey. There's no cat here. That's right.
Subscribe.